This guy right here. See that? For this job, I'm removing the U-joint on this front end of this Dodge Ram 2500, 6.7 Cummins, 4-wheel drive. It's a 2008. Here's all that I used. I got two different grease fittings here. They're both needle type fittings. One is more your hypodermic type needle. That's why it's got a special casing on it to protect you. One's this style here. This one is for the specific U-joint I use. It's from Moog. This one is to grease the double cardan joint. Then, of course, you got a grease gun with your normal grease end on it. We've got a 5/8 ratchet wrench I use just for ease of removing a couple bolts, 4 bolts precisely. 5/8 regular combination wrench. And I did use another wrench as a cheater to break the bolts loose on the drive shaft where it connects to the transfer case. And then use this to run them the rest of the way out. This tire iron I use to go through the yokes to hold the drive shaft still because I have my front end lifted up so I can rotate everything easily. Hammer is for when the drive shaft, all the bolts are out. I didn't want to beat on it with my hand to break it loose, so I just tapped it like a little love tap, 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 with a hammer to get everything broke loose, just because rust will hold it on to the yokes and such. And then I learned a lesson about a T40 socket. They will explode when you're trying to get the front yoke unbolted because it uses a T40 on at least my specific model of pickup. So don't use your regular socket. Get yourself an impact rated T40. I had to use a short extension to get in there well enough. My electric DeWalt cordless impact worked plenty fine. A little bit of a medium Loctite here. And then a magnet tray to hold the bolts. Gloves for safety because you're going to heat some stuff up because you got to melt the current Loctite that comes factory on the bolts. So you got to heat up each side and then you run them out with that. And then you're able to grab stuff with some heat resistant gloves. Keep your hands safe. And after everything's all done, you have some plastic in the U-joint yokes that you got to remove before you install the new U-joints. So that's what these picks are for. These are just little O-ring picks. I think this whole set there's 2 more. It was like $3 at Harbor Freight. Most everything in here is from Harbor Freight except for my wrenches. Well, and the hammer. Okay, I lied. The only thing from Harbor Freight are these two, and this guy here. I did break my gear wrench brand as well, and this is my John Deere one here. So it's not just this. No, it's Harbor Freight. No, it's just the type of tool. Use the correct tools. Use impact rated stuff to remove those Torx head bolts. Go ahead and you have this to hold the shaft, the combination wrenches to break the bolts loose and run them out with the ratchet wrench. Otherwise it's going to take forever, so this is just to make it quicker. Then put everything back together with a little dab of Loctite on each bolt. You don't need to cover the bolt, just one little drop is plenty to tighten everything back up. Alright, let's get to the video and show you how I'm doing this U-joint replacement on this front drive shaft. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I've got another problem. It's a thing that I haven't had to deal with for quite a number of years. I think last time I dealt with this or something similar, that's I did a video, and it's on my wrench turning playlist. Well, we're going to be turning wrenches again today. My front drive shaft, the very front U-joint, is out. And if I remember correctly, last time I replaced the U-joints on this, I was concerned about that one by how it fit together. So we're going to be tearing that out today, inspecting it. Hopefully the 2 U-joints, and I forget what the heck that joint is called, but it's a weird kind of coupling U-joint. It allows for the movement like this, and then the rest of the shaft comes this way and connects to the axle. Hopefully those are good, and I don't have to replace those because I remember how much of a pain it was to replace those U-joints. So we're going to take off the front drive shaft. Now, what have I done in order to get prepared for that? Well, obviously, I went and I got parts for it. I got at least 1 U-joint. I got some Loctite. I got a different grease fitting to go on my grease gun because this new Moog U-joint has a grease fitting that goes on the end cap. I've never seen that, but it's probably a common thing. That's just never the brand I've bought, apparently, where it goes more down in towards the center of the U-joint. So I got parts. I had to get some accessories for my little press here, my 12-ton press from Harbor Freight. This little shop press accessory kit, because I can only find one of my plates that came with it. I have no idea where the other one went, so I needed to get something so I could push the U-joints out. I've tried using the vise before, but I've never had luck with that. And also, I went ahead and I got my truck up on jack stands on the front. I've got 3-ton jack stands, just lift it up a little bit because I'm a bigger fella. I know I can do this without lifting the truck up, but I wanted to. And then I have chalk blocks on the rear end. Do I need the chalk blocks on the rear? No, I don't, but I do it anyway. Anytime I lift a vehicle, I always chalk off whatever end of the vehicle is on the ground to ensure we don't roll. I'm going to undo the front drive shaft. That'll have no effect on the park brake. So when you put it in park, it kind of locks everything up. It makes gears do a different sort of situation back there, so it locks it, doesn't move. I also have the e-brake engaged. So taking the front shaft off, we shouldn't roll either way. I went ahead and put chalk blocks on. So let's go ahead and crawl underneath this pickup, and I'll show you exactly why I think my U-joint is out. Do I think? No. I know my U-joint is out, but I'll show you why I think that, why I know that. Let's get under there. So this is the U-joint that I know is no good. This guy right here. See that? I have been noticing some weird, how this is driving. It almost looks like this end cap is pushed out some right here. The end cap feels like it's pushed out to me. This one's good. But I'd say the end cap feels like it's pushed out. I don't like that. That could be why it went bad. When we tear this apart, we'll have to see if we have any damage to that U-joint and see what's going on in there. But yeah, your U-joint should not make that noise, and it should not move like that. I'm barely pushing up with my thumb and then boop, back down. Yeah, this is going to be fun. So with these Dodge pickups, these Dodge Rams, or at least mine anyway, they come with these bolt heads here that are T40, so your star bits. And then I also have to undo it back here. These are regular socket heads. Now these all feel nice and firm. There's no movement in these at all. What I will like is when I pull this off, I am going to certainly grease the heck out of these U-joints. And once this one's put on, we're going to grease the heck out of this too. Well, once it's together, we'll grease the heck out of this. So we're going to go ahead and get started tearing that apart. Well, a couple things. If you can, break your bolts loose when you're on the ground. Otherwise, do like I'm doing and find a bar, a really strong bar. Right now, that's a crowbar or a tire iron. I'm able to put that in there, hold that steady enough to where I should be able to break the bolts loose. Other tip, don't break your tool off in the head of the screw or bolt, whatever you want to call it. That is going to suck to get out. So, yeah, I'm not real happy about that. Not happy about that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I did a couple things. So I went back to Harbor Freight, and I picked up some of these impact Torx sockets here. And I screwed up again, but it wasn't the socket that I screwed up. I bought the wrong extensions. Apparently, Harbor Freight has sockets that go from 1/2-inch drive down to 3/8. So I need a 1/2-inch to 1/2-inch, so that's why I'm using a chrome extension. I don't recommend that on an impact, but if it's all you got, it's all you got, right? All right. So I finally figured out getting these bolts out, and it was really the help of this impact socket, but this couldn't do it alone. I brought in Mr. Torch here, heated this up on all of them, all just like right here next to the bolt, and then I ugga-dugga it and got it off. I have not gotten this one yet. I just rotated the shaft to do it, so let's go. Let me show you what I do. So just hold it here for a little bit. Get it all warm. Nice and warm. This is going to be hot, so do not touch any of this metal. Let it cool off. So you've got a little bit of a color change there. That's what happens when steel gets warm. Get that in there as best as you can. And there it is. Just like that. And that screw is going to be hot. Now all 4 bolts are out. So all I got to do is probably take a hammer or mallet. You should probably use a mallet. And pop it, and that'll come loose. And now the easy side is literally, let me get my light up here, just some cap screws. Some good old hex socket screws, so you can just take a wrench, break all them loose, and pull it off. So that was pretty simple. I just figured I'd show you guys this one. Ow, I just touched my arm on the bolt. That was hot. But I figured I'd show you guys this because I know this one is a pain in the rear end. And there's no easy way to do it except buying yourself some impact torque sockets, impact torque bits, whatever you want to call them. This nice, I've had this DeWalt, geez now, for how long have I had this? Do we think I've been where I'm at now? Work for almost 5 years. I was at the other place for 7. So that's 12 years. About 13 years ago, I bought this DeWalt. And it's probably one of my favorite purchases I've ever made. I use this all the time. Never had issues with it. But yeah, let's get an impact. Heat this part up. And you'll impact them right out of there. I'll be back once I got the drive shaft off because I don't think I need to show you guys me using a wrench to break these other ones loose. And then really all I do is just tap on each end of it with a mallet until the drive shaft falls off and your drive shaft is out. So I'll be back once this guy is on the shop table out there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so as you can see, I have the drive shaft out. It is right here. Right here. This is the drive shaft. Now, I'll go through the other side. I used a 5/8 wrench for the other side, and I also heated the other bolts up like I did these ones to break that Loctite. See how easy that is? I mean, I really shouldn't flop like that. And watch this. We should never, ever have side-to-side movement or up and down movement in our U-joints. This is no good. So this is what we were going to try to fix today. Now there's a problem with a lot of people don't understand. See if I can zoom in here. See that little divot right there? There's actually a plastic retainer in this whole thing. And right there too. See that little divot? It's actually a plastic retainer. Now there's only one way to get those out, and that is to take your torch and heat this up until they shoot out. That's why I'm wearing gloves. Because I already heated this side up and burned some of that out. So what'll happen, it'll either ooze out a little bit, or it'll just build up a lot of pressure, just go boom, shoot out. So let's go ahead and do that and see. And we will see if we can get this on camera or not. Wear safety glasses. Make sure this dimple is not pointed towards you, anybody, or anything that is living. And you don't want it to land on anything that'll catch fire. So I'm going to heat right here, and it'll probably take a while. And don't be alarmed if the grease catches fire, whatever. That's just one of the possibilities. Also, make sure you're in open. There's that plastic bit, just wore that off right there. Well, normally the plastic shoots out, but I don't know, maybe the plastic's not even in here. Like I said, it does look like some of the caps are pushed out, so maybe the retaining plastic is wore out. Oh well, if I can, I'll find my old video that I have on here and I'll look that up and show you guys it shooting out. All right, y'all, this is the front drive shaft off of a 2008 Dodge Ram 2500 6.7 4x4. These little plastic things in your U-joint, you got to get those out because that's actually what holds your U-joint in. It's not like your normal snap rings or clips. Me, I used some MAP gas, you know, a little torch handle, just real easy. I always wear safety glasses and put some gloves on too, because if that plastic gets on you, it's hot. It's known to kind of explode out of there when it comes out. Sometimes it'll just ooze out. But you just apply heat right in the middle there and it'll all come out. May take a minute or two. Make sure your holes are pointed away from anything that can. See, there it goes, man. Okay, cause damage and hot plastic. All right, that's all there is to it. I don't know. Like some came out, not a lot. It didn't come shooting out like I said, unless this one's just that old. I mean, you're starting to really see the hole right here. Kind of oozing out a little bit. See, there's that plastic coming out. That plastic is what I'm talking about. See it oozing out right here? All that nastiness, that's that plastic retainer ring that just fell out. So I'm gonna do that to the rest of these and make sure the rest of that plastic comes out of all of them. And I'll be right back once we're out on the press. Right there, there's that plastic that came out. So that's that plastic retainer ring right there. That plastic will keep you from getting this U-joint out of these yokes. You will not be able to remove this U-joint out of these with those retainer pieces in. So I'm going to go around and make sure I've got them all burned out. All right, now what I've done here is I've taken two of my bars, an oversized socket, one that is bigger than the circumference of that cap of the U-joint. As you saw there, all of a sudden it fell down. That should mean I am pushed past where I need to be. Let's go ahead and lift this up. Take this off, and the cap is pushed out. Now what you do from here, okay, give a little better description. Took my two bars here. These are made for the hydraulic press. These bars are. Put them underneath each side of this yoke. And I took an oversized socket. The one I'm currently using here is a 32 millimeter. It's much larger than the cap of the U-joint, but it fits just nicely on that part of the yoke of the drive shaft. Then you just press it down until it pops up, and then it dropped. Let me know that we should be all the way through. And then we should be able to just pop it off just like that. I'm definitely using pliers because this thing is still hot. But inside there is what we call needle bearings, a whole bunch of needle bearings. And that's actually what your U-joint, what makes it operate, what makes it to where this whole thing can rotate. The four different U-joint needle bearing setups, or whatever you want to call it. I can't talk right now, guys. Sorry, it's been a long day at work. But yeah, so all those needle bearings, that's what enables everything to rotate. Now after that, should be able to start working the other side out. So you make sure your bars are back in place, get your socket back on it, And now we're just going to push down here like we did on the other side, and it should shove that U-joint right up. Let me make sure we're tight on the bottle jack. That's normal. Here, I'll show you. Whoa, we exploded that cap. That's different. So let's reset here. We're going to go again. And there it finally started coming off. So it's explosive sometimes, so you got to be super careful, all right? So now, that thing is hot. That's why I'm wearing gloves. So now, we got that U-joint out of this part of the drive shaft. We'll have to get that cap out the rest of the way later. And we could probably use this press, I imagine, yep, to push it right out, which is what we'll probably do later. Oh, the cap fell out. Here we go. So our cap fell out. It's sitting right there. So yeah, this can be a task. Some people that I've watched videos on back in the day, they just used vices and sometimes they will just press them out. I'm guessing it wasn't an old one like this. It wasn't an old freaking drive shaft. So yeah. And then you can kind of see where that plastic retainer right in there. You see that ring? It's that plastic retainer sits. So they inject it. Focus. They inject it in that hole with that cap in. And it goes around the ring on the cap, which is, come on, focus, right there inside there. Okay, something neat about this accessory kit that I got from Harbor Freight is it's got like different little bits in it. Now this piece here, I'm going to basically put like this because it is smaller than the cap. And that's going to be on the bottom. And on the top side, we're going to push on this, once again with the socket, and shove that down, effectively shoving this cap that way and this yoke that direction. So this is my current setup. I'll rotate it here. So I got this accessory piece down on the bottom, which will keep us from pushing the whole thing down. And then I've got my big socket right here, which will push only on the yoke. So we should just basically be shoving the yoke straight down to where it should go on top of this. Let's give her a try. I'm not sure if you could hear that creaking that was going on. There's a lot of creaking going on with every little bit of pressure I put. And each time, I would just do a little bit more and just let it sit. Because eventually, the pressure gave way. And there it went. There we go. I shoved it down a hair. I think, anyway. Don't worry. All is well. All that happened is it shoved it down the rest of the way. So as that exploded, so basically that's all a crud ton of energy. More energy than you could imagine. Just came flying out of that steel. So that steel just like kaboom, right? That's why you should always, when I do these, I have my back turned towards it. And then like in a shop environment for like real heavy tonnage stuff, there's normally like a wire cage right here between you and the press. So now that that's part is out, we're going to set this back up. Maybe try to get the rest of that cap out. And now we're just pushing that cap all the way out. See? And it just fell down. And now, pull that U-joint right out, and there's that yoke. Part of that drive shaft. So these little black pieces, they are part of the seal that helps keep the grease inside these caps. Looking in these caps, what do you see? Rust. There is absolutely no more grease inside these caps. That would be why this failed. A couple of these did have some, like this one here, there's still grease in there, but it seems like only maybe 2 of the caps had grease still in them. Everything else was just rusted as all get out. There's another one of them that broke. It's really rusty inside there. And as you can see, looking at this, a whole bunch of rust here. So there was a little bit of grease. You could tell the one that had a lot of grease right here, nice and shiny. This one wasn't so bad. This one was just gone. Look at the outside diameter of that compared to that one. Gone. There it is. So let's see here. Grease hole. So then the grease will come through this hole, pressurize inside the cap, push out towards the bearings. That one's good. Good. It's hard as all get out right there. Which is weird. Because that got so hot it welded. Or maybe it didn't get a hole. Let me see something here. I don't see anything there. But yeah, that's maybe something happened that got defective right there at some point. But these 3 are open. This one was getting nothing for the longest time. All right, I'm gonna let these components cool before I go ahead and come back out and work on them, get them nice and cleaned up. Come in here like come in here and do some cleaning out of these rings. You're gonna need to get these cleaned out. See, there's that plastic. Let's see, get this out all the way. Here's that plastic retainer I've been telling you guys about. That's what keeps these in there from factory. So you got to make sure you get these all cleaned out. All right, it's about supper time. So I'll be back out here probably tomorrow evening to finish cleaning these out, getting all these plastic rings out because I can still see plastic in here. I want to be able to handle these without having to wear gloves because these are still hot from me torching them. But hey, we got the U-joint out. That was a big success. That was the biggest thing we wanted to do today. I did grease these U-joints. I made sure I got some good grease in them. And we're going to let this cool off. I'll be back out tomorrow to keep working on this. Sucks that it's going to be tomorrow afternoon to evening. So I want to get this job done. I'm going to go eat supper, go to bed, go to work, come back, go to work. When the wife gets home and she can take over watching the kids. So I'll be back tomorrow. So we are back out here. I just got done pulling some honey supers from some bees because I am a beekeeper as well. If you've been here for a while, you know this. Back on the drive shaft. So I'll show you what I've done so far for the past like 10 minutes I've been in here. So I went ahead and I cleaned these out. Try to get them as clean as possible because you want them nice and clean. That way these smooth caps just go right on in. Now I've seen it where people add a little grease here before pushing them in. I did not do that on these two, but we can see what it's about. As you can tell, all those little needle bearings are in there. That's what was shot on the other one that rusted out and destroyed one of these parts of the U-joint. You can see these holes right there. There's one on each U-joint cap with all the bearings. So when you grease it, it comes out. Now one of these, here it is. This cap actually has the grease point right there. So we're going to be greasing inside the cap area, and that's going to flow into here, then push grease out to the others. All right, let's get going and putting well, we need to finish seating these two and putting these springs in there to hold them in place. Let's get on it. All right, so I just went with a press and push it in just a hair to get this groove to show up. Now it should be with this style. Just take the C, put it right in your groove, give her a good old press. She snaps right in. All I should have to do is go to the other side, push that in just a hair, and do the same darn thing. I'll be right back. Right there we have our groove. Get that piece in. There we go. Got that first part of the U-joint installed. Now it's real simple, so you barely push it in on either side, and it's always a good idea once you get them seated, go ahead and give them some wiggling. They shouldn't like free move really on their own. You need to apply pressure at this point and get them moving. All right, so I could think by looking at this design, this apparently, I'm guessing, used to be the point where they used to have a U-joint. No, not U-joint, sorry. Where they used to have a greaser. Just by looking at how it's a little beefed up right here to strengthen it. So my guess is they went away from the greaser here and started putting it in, where's it at? The end cap. That way we keep more strength in this joint here. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and rotate my vise, this thing. We're gonna rotate this, try to get this set up in it. Wish me luck. And now what I'm gonna do here, I get my new end cap right. I'm gonna put it, oh man. If you have a second set of hands, great idea. So new end cap, go ahead, get that piece through, kind of situate that on the end cap, get it started in there. And you start rotating your handle. With that other, with the U-joint piece in the end cap to try to keep that positioned. What is going on with my vise here? Try to keep it positioned. I'm going to go to the edge. Sorry, I keep hitting the camera. Now we're pretty well seated there. So I'm going to back out the vise off. Get rid of these guys. I got a chunk of debris in there. Get that out. I thought I got all that crud out of there. Let's get the other one in. Okay. Run it home. Onto that. What's neat, I think I may already have a groove showing. Let's see if it's enough of a groove to get this on. It is. All right, so now we just got to get that pushed in. Apparently do not have my press tight. There we go. That ring is almost out enough. It might be out just enough. To get that snapped on. Not quite seated, so I had to push this guy just a hair more. Get that in just a little bit better. I think we're seated over there. There it is. Hear that in a satisfying click? We are in. That ring is in its groove. All right, now let's get, where's it at? There it is. We'll get that guy put on. Itty frickin' bitty. So it looks like, now I probably don't need to do this, but I'm going to just because I've got some medium strength Loctite here. Oh, that gooped out super darn fast. Didn't like that very much. You'll need a little bit in the threads. It's going to get her started. Hopefully get it started. Big fingers, little items don't generally work out too well together. And this one's just running in home by a screwdriver. Let me put a different end on my grease gun here and we'll try it out. Now, this is a grease fitting I've never used, and I hope it's correct. If not, it'll probably just come shooting out the sides like that. I think I need to go get an actual needle style greaser. Greaser. Well, I'm going to go drive 30-some minutes to the hardware store and get a different end for this frickin' grease deal here. Gosh, that's a little irritating. All right, I'll be back when I can grease this. In the meantime, I might look up how to find the grease point on this double cardan shaft. Still feels fine, but I know there's got to be a grease zerk for inside there. Real quick before I go, I found the grease point for that double cardan shaft. It's this little hole right in there. See if I can get in here and focus in on it. Focus phone. Sort of. Let me grab a. There's a point. There's a little hole right there. That's the grease point of this shaft for this double cardan joint. I am back from the auto parts store. I went to O'Reilly's. For the double cardan joint, I used this type of grease fitting here. It's basically a needle. As you can tell, it's got like kind of a hypodermic needle look. That's why it's in a protective casing so you don't stab yourself. That's what you got to use for the greaser in this double cardan joint. And mine took quite a bit of grease, so I imagine it's been a minute, and I don't remember greasing that in recent memory. That's why I had to go buy one of these because I didn't know where it was. The grease fitting for my grease gun that worked for this is another type of needle grease valve or whatever grease insert, but it has this little black point here that fits perfectly inside this spot right there. So basically you just push there, apply pressure, and grease. See, none came back out there until I lifted up because I had pressure in there. But I already greased it. So this U-joint is ready to rumble to install back on. Alright, so since this drive shaft is put back together, our U-joint is greased, it's installed, we're good. I greased both U-joints down here and the double cardan joint. By the way, if you ever have to do the U-joints on this double cardan joint, you're going to hate life while you're doing it. Trust me. Wipe any excess grease off because otherwise it's just going to splatter everywhere as everything rotates. Because even if you have four-wheel drive not going, this guy still spins. It spins with the wheels. The four-wheel drive just locks in your transfer case when everything engages. And then this gets engine power via the transmission. All right, let's get this guy put back on. You know what? I kind of really like that grease fitting there versus inside here because it's a pain in the butt sometimes to get to the fittings that are inside of that U-joint. So I'm going to start slapping this all back together, and I will be using some medium Loctite. Don't use high-strength Loctite on the bolts just to make sure they don't come loose. I'll probably ugga-dugga these ones on because I can't really get a Torx bit straight on there good enough to get a good torque on them. And I'll do the same thing with these, but I'll got to use a wrench for this backside here. So I'm just going to get it installed and be on my way. So that's how you do the U-joint. You know, you got to press it out. If you're lucky enough to use a vise to press it out, awesome. Me, I've never gotten away with that. I've always had to use a hydraulic press. And then I use my vise to kind of push them in most of the way, my caps. And then the hydraulic press to push them in enough to get my clips in. Some of the U-joints have the clip that goes in the top here in the yoke versus on the underside to keep that cap in place. So hopefully you guys learned something here. If you got questions, put them down below. If not, well, epic. I'll be glad to answer any questions. Remember, when removing these from original ones, if you see a little chunk of plastic like right in here where that hole is, that means you have plastic retainer all the way in there and you got to burn them out. And they're going to be a pain in the butt. There's no way around it. It's going to be a pain in the butt. Hope you guys have good luck with your project. And I'm going to get this back on so I can get this bad boy out of here because I have supers that I got to spin out tomorrow after work. All right. I love you guys. I hope you're doing well whenever you are, wherever you are. Please pray for my family. I'll pray for yours. If you have any requests, put them down below. Love you guys. I'm going to get this back on so I can get out of here. All right. Peace out. Bye.